Hi, I'm Regina, and I'm reviewing the book The Wild Girl by Jim Fergus. This is one of my favorite books, and it is written as a notebook series. The story is about Ned Giles, and he's orphaned as a teenager. While he's at work one day, he sees this flyer, and it's for this great Apache expedition. He wasn't planning on leaving, but he knew that if he didn't leave soon, that someone was going to find out that he was living alone. So he decides that, all right, I'm going to go on an adventure. It's time for a new start my life over, and I'm going to go on an adventure. So he leaves to begin his new life. This great expedition that he wants to go on is because a wealthy landowner, his son, was kidnapped by Apaches who had just killed his mom. So the landowner is paying for all these people to go and find his son. There's going to be volunteer militia, and there's going to be the Mexican army. So when Ned goes, he says, I'm going to be a photographer. On the expedition, things get crazy when they find an Apache girl in a Mexican jail cell. Out of compassion, and by concocting this plan, Ned decides that, hey, why don't we trade this girl for the boy? So everyone decides, oh, that's a great idea. So they go and they take the girl, and they start to go through the rugged Sierra Madre Mountains. When Ned starts to develop feelings for the Apache girl, things start to get crazy. It ends up that he has to choose allegiances, and he is going to have to make the biggest decision of his life. And this is when things really heat up and the book just goes wild. I really love this book because it's full of adventure. It has a love story, there's new friendships, and there's life lessons in this book that everyone can learn from. There's also a lot of characters that you fall in love with. Ned, and then there's a lot of other characters in this book that will make you laugh and, you just form a bond with. And then there's other characters, you really hate them. You will hate some characters in this book. But that's the beauty of this book. You can grow with the characters, and you can feel what they feel as you read it. You're taken into two worlds. First you're into civilization, and then you're taken into the rugged Sierra Madre Mountains. Just two different landscapes, and you get to see how the people interact in both worlds. This, I think, is a really cool concept, and you'll see why also at the end of the book, when they're in the Sierra Madre Mountains, just things that happen and the terrain and everything. It's a really neat picture. I also love this book because you have two people, Ned and the Apache girl, and although they have a language barrier, they find a way through that, and they bond, and they find their own way to communicate together. And that to me was really neat also, just to see them forming this bond and forming this new communication between each other. Jim Fergus really writes this book with really vivid imagery. He even said himself that before he wrote this book, he went out and he surveyed the land, he wanted to see what everything was like, and you can really tell that with all of his descriptions. You can see it in your head, like just exactly picture it how he sees it, because he just writes it that clearly. It was also hard to believe that this wasn't a true story, just the way he writes his characters and how everything comes together, and the background of the Apache girl, and just the whole story, just how it all comes together and flows. It's just hard to believe, it's not a true story, and it makes you want to believe it's a true story, and that's the joy in it also, is, it's not a true story, but you can take it as one. I really love this book, and I know you're going to love this book too, so go and read it. Go now. Go read it. Please subscribe if you like my channel, and if you have read this book, comment down below because I want to hear your opinions about it. I always like to hear what other people think. Thanks for stopping by. This is weird. I also love this book because you have two characters who can't speak together because of a barrier language. I could not put this